What is up, L's and G's? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I've got another deck profile for you. This time I'm taking a look at Mathmech. This is a really cool deck, and I was on the Code Talker thing, so I was already looking at like the Cyberse side of the world, and I found myself across Mathmech. I've always thought they were kind of a cooler deck. They're definitely one of those combo decks that are like super interesting to me. I don't generally find myself drawn to combo decks, but this is one that does like really cool combo lines, goes through some really cool things, and sets up some really cool board states, which I really like. So today I'm going to show you my list. It's by no means the craziest list you've ever seen, teched out, usual Just Nuts shenanigans. It's actually fairly cookie cutter, but I still want to talk about this deck. I've been wanting to build it for a while, and maybe later on I'll come back and look at it and change up some things, throw in some new spices, and we'll see where we're at. So here we go. Starting off with the main deck, of course, 3 Mathmech Sigma, 3 Mathmech Addition, 3 Mathmech Subtraction. A million apologies for the Mathmech Addition proxy. This card was at $4 like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I'm not building Mathmechs yet, but I might build them soon, so I didn't buy it. And now it's like $15, and I can't even find it anywhere, at least on the quick. So apologize for the proxies, but yeah, let's just say 3. These are like the best Mathmechs in the deck straight up. They're extenders, they're starters, they're fine, they're all great. So Sigma summon himself from hand or grave as long as you have nothing in the extra monster zone. Yeah. And then locks you into Cyberse. These guys let you target any monster on the field. Subtraction will lower it by 1,000. Addition will raise it by 1,000. Then they summon themselves from hand. So they're just great extenders from hand. You don't even need a body on board if your opponent has one to use these as extenders, which is just so good. So 3 for me on these guys. I think they're the best cards in the deck, at least in the main deck. All right, moving on to kind of like the secondary Mathmechs. We have 2 copies of Nebula, 2 copies of Diameter, 1 copy of Division, and 1 copy of Multiplication. Now this is kind of super standard. I think most people just play 3, 2, 1, 1. They're all really good in their own right. Nebula lets you attribute a Cyberse to summon a Mathmech straight from the deck. And then also when he's sent to the graveyard, he can target a Cyberse monster in the extra monster zone, and it can attack twice. So that's really good for OTKs. And then you have Diameter. This is one of the newer ones. When he's normal summoned, he can reborn a level 4 Cyberse from grave, which can come up. But also when it's used for an Exceed or a Synchro material for a Mathmech extra deck monster, the monster for the rest of that turn essentially just gains an Omni Negate. It can just negate something that turn. So the idea is to use him quickly on our opponent's turn to make one of the Exceeds, and that will then just have a negate. So cool, really strong. Then you have Division and Multiplication. Division contribute a Cyberse to special summon a Cyberse from hand, each from hand and graveyard. So you trade 1 monster for 2 essentially on board. It's pretty good, so good extender there. And then it can also give a monster or make a monster make a monster's attack cut in half when it's sent from the field to the graveyard. Then you have Multiplication. You can target a level 4 Cyberse you control and make its a level become 8. That's really good for some of your Synchro plays, but other than that, that doesn't really matter. And also when it's sent to the graveyard, you can double any Cyberse monster you have in the EMZ. So all good in their own right. They all do specific things, but this is the super standard lineup. 3, 2, 1, 1. And I don't think I'd stray too far away from that there. So moving on to the other Cyberse cards we play just generically. 3 copies of Balancer Lord, 3 copies of Parallel Exceed, 1 copy of Dotscaper. This is also pretty standard here, I would say. I think I am missing some things that some people play, but I'll talk about that in a second. Balancer Lord is great. This is the Cyberse card that has the most synergy with what this deck already does. It's great for combos. Very important with Cyberse. Wicked gives you an extra normal summon. It's really just a good card in this deck, plain and simple. Opening him plus any Mathmech is combo, by the way, so keep that in mind. Parallel Exceed, just again, another great extender, and this is a Cyberse deck that likes to make Exceeds, so boom, 2 level 4 monsters, that will work. And then you have Dotscaper. He's kind of just an extender. I guess theoretically you could normal summon him if you want to. Start linking him away, start getting those extra link materials, but mainly you're going to be using him as extender with by pulling him out of the deck. So yeah, he's nice, just a fine one of to have. just in case. But that is literally it for like the actual monsters I play in the main deck. You really don't need anything crazy in my opinion. A lot of people play microcoder to be able to make like plays into transcode, get a search for sign at conflict. And if you're not going the main combo, you can go routes with that and still end with disruption. But I think it's fine. I think it's kind of like, I don't know. I just don't love it. I feel like it's a little bit out of place. It's a little bit kind of forced in the deck, in my opinion. I don't think it flows super naturally, considering most of your normal Mathmech combos lock you out of anything higher than Link 2. So yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like weird to me, so I didn't end up playing it. All right. So then for our, like, I guess going second cards, I play 3 Gamma in the driver and then 2 copies of Godarla. Listen, this deck is supposed to be a going first deck. You're opting first if you get it, but it's still nice to have cards like these. And I wanted stuff that's like impactful. This deck can legit be an OTK deck going second. So I wanted stuff that like gave us the best chance at just saying, at looking at our opponent's board and be like, that's super easy to OTK through. And I think something like a Kaiju and this are just like really perfect for that. This is just going to get rid of one specific interruption, or something like a wind barrier statue in the Tri-Brigade matchup. So that's really, really nice. And then obviously Gamma is just one of the best going second hand traps in the game. So yeah, just trying to keep it simple and focused there. Really very specific purposes going on there. All right, so that is it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells: 3 Signet Mining, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Mathmech Equation, Foolish Burial, Gold Sark, Harpy's Feather Duster, and Called by the Grave. I guess we'll, oh, sorry, hold on. Upstart Goblin as well. We'll talk about everything here real quick. Signet Mining, this searches every Mathmech in the deck, as well as, what's his name? Hold on, don't want to forget his name. Balancer Lord. So those are all the best cards in the deck. Monster Reborn, just a phenomenal extender, helps you play through Disruption. Mathmech Equation, same thing. It's literally just a Monster Reborn, but for a Mathmech monster. Hard ones per turn though, so I'm only playing 1. Foolish Burial, that can be used to send Dotscaper or Balancer Lord, or Mathmech Sigma, because he can also activate from Grave to reborn himself. So that's really, really versatile there. And Gold Sark, this is also to send Dotscaper. This is worth 3 materials if you banish Dotscaper, because he'll immediately summon himself back. Then you can link him off. Then he'll trigger again, summon himself back. So it's worth straight up like 3. Oh no, maybe it's only 2 link materials, but it's 2 link materials without your normal summon. So that's still really, really good. And then the other cards are just kind of like coverage cards, right? Like, again, like I had an extra couple slots. I like Call to the Grave. This is a combo based deck, so eliminating any extra hand traps you might have to deal with. Droll specifically is pretty rough. Ash, whatever. But nobody's really maining Droll right now, so I think Upstart's fine. You can side it out after game 1, but also just increases the consistency a little bit of the deck. And then Harpy's Feather Duster. Going second into some like back row boards can be so annoying. Like back row decks, like obviously Gamma's not great, Godarla's not insane. So I just like having that one of, you could potentially draw it, and it can just win you games, man. I just think a lot of decks don't play this in the main because they're like, oh, it's kind of ugly. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't push my board state. But I'm like, that card's just going to win you games, man. Especially game 1s where like these back row decks haven't even had a chance to like side in stuff like their judgments and shit. It just is going to win you so many games that way, I think, if you play it for a long time. Then for the traps, very simple. 1 Mathmech Superfactorial and 1 Mathmech Induction. This is the big one. This card's insane. It can let you reborn up to 3 Mathmech monsters from Grave. Then you either special summon, you either Synchro summon or Exceed summon a Mathmech monster immediately. What's so good with that is that you're going to reborn 3 Mathmechs, including Diameter, to then make an Exceed. The Exceed will perform as essentially like a pseudo Trishula on our opponent's turn, and then it'll have an Omni Negate with Diameter. So this card just represents so much, like such a powerful disruption by itself. It's insane. I almost want to try and play like more of this, just because like hard drawing, it's fine if you couldn't even get it through your combo, assuming you could set up three Mathmechs in Grave. So good. I love this card. This card's insane. Almost want to play more of it. And then Induction. This is an ancillary card you can search as well. It buffs all Cyberse on field by 500. So that's actually pretty nice. Your Mathmechs can get pretty big, especially with stuff like addition and subtraction, giving you some nice like modulation as well. And then you can also send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard while you control a Mathmech monster to target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So it gives you a buff, but then also just acts as like a Dryden. Its utility, it's a searchable way to just like pop any card, so can be an out to Mystic Mine in the deck. I just feel like it's a fine one of. You can side it out if you want to after game 1. I just felt more comfortable playing it, like I just had that extra little bit of utility. And if I open Super Factorial, it gives me the ability to search this. So not only do you end on Borload Savage, Omni Negate, Pseudo Trishula, but you also end on a little Dryden effect as well. So it just gives you that much more disruption, and I like that. I like having that extra little oomph in the deck. So that is it for the main. 40 cards in the main. You know, we're keeping it concise. We're trying to keep it consistent here. Nothing super crazy, pretty cookie cutter outside of actually cutting microcoder. If anything, you'd say it's less cookie cutter because I'm not playing the microcoder package, but whatever. I like where the deck's at right now a lot, so I'm going to keep it. All right, so moving into the extra deck, it's like mostly Cyberse. So starting off with the Link 1s, Link Disciple, Link Devotee, and Lingaribo. Lingaribo is nice, like I said. Backward decks are really annoying, but this gives you an in-archetype, not in-archetype, but I don't know, in-engine way of just being able to shut down back row, or at least be more resilient to multiple back row. And these two are part of the combo. So Disciple lets you like tribute a Cyberse it points to then draw a card and then place a card from your hand back on top of the deck. That's pretty cool with stuff like opening like double Parallel Exceed, or opening the Dotscaper, or opening an extra, or opening Driver or a Gamma that's is going to be dead. Godarla, even anything that's extra. Sign Up Mining is a hard one's return. Put the second one back in if you already had a good discard. You know what I mean? Like anything, literally anything you want can go back into the deck. So I really don't have a problem with it, with like drawing any of the quote unquote bricks in the deck. So yeah, you just make this, tribute this. You'll get 2 tokens when this is tributed, but he locks you out of summoning anything bigger than a Link 2. You can't summon anything Link 3 or higher for the rest of the turn. Very important to note, but still very important for the combo. And Lingaribo just also comes up as part of the combo as well. And then generically to play against back row decks. Next up, Link 2s, Cyberse Wicked, Code Talker Inverted, and IP Masquerena. These are all really good. Wicked is the important one here. This is essentially like this deck's like Halky 5 racks, I guess. It can banish a Cyberse from grave to then search a Cyberse tuner. And then while it's on field, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, which is also pretty good. And also stuff it points to can't be destroyed by card effects. So pretty cool card. It's only 800, but still really good. It's pretty resilient for what it does there. So searches you for either Sigma or Nabla mainly. You also have Code Talker Inverted. He's also part of certain combos, just helping you get stuff out of your hand. Again, you might need an extra way to get Nabla out of the hand because he gets you into Diameter while still setting up an extra Mathmech Engrave. Very good. And then you have the IP Masquerena. This is part of some of your end boards. I'm not playing the Underworld Goddess, which I think is a really cool card with this in this deck because you can easily set that up to do that play on your opponent's turn, but still really good, just as extra disruption, extra ability to dodge with your board, make your board just generally more flexible, which is really cool. So I think that's pretty standard there, those 3 Link monsters, Link 2s. Then for the Link 3s, I'm on 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Transcode. Your cards are going to lock you out of Link summoning anything but Cyberse and mainly stuff Link 3 or higher on your turn. But on your opponent's turn, you can IP Masquerena into Unicorn, still get some disruption out of that. And also, Transcode is just phenomenal follow-up. This card is insane on the next turn. And I know I'm not playing the microcoder stuff, but you can still easily spam into him just by using Mathmech effects. And then from him, you go into Access Code and you just win the duel. So yeah, I just play these. Obviously, this is like not super budget. You could easily drop Access Code. I still kind of like Transcode though as a follow-up because you could easily make anything else, whether you do have Underworld Goddess or something else, you could still try and make cool plays with Transcode that way just to push for a ton of damage. But I like Access Code. If you have access to it, haha, punny, play it. I think you just should if you can. And the last card I have here is Avermax. Again, if I have Underworld Goddess, I'm probably playing it over Unicorn. But Avermax is still also a nice card. Sometimes you make him just to have a wall, an annoying ass card that just in a simplified board states, decks cannot beat. It's very hard for them to beat and continue to play afterwards. So very good there. And that is it for all the links. Next up are the Exceeds. I right now am just on 1-in-1 of Alan Bershin and Laplation. These are insane. When Alan Bershin is summoned, he can tribute, or not when he's summoned, but he can tribute any monster to summon a level 4 Mathmech from hand or grave. Also, if he's Exceed summoned, you could attach 2 to 4 materials for him to do one of his effects. If you do 2, you can search any Mathmech card. If you do 3, you can add a level 4 to hand. Or if you do 4, you can add any spell or trap in the entire game from deck to hand. I think it's all interesting stuff, but I think the main thing here is you want to just add an Mathmech card. This is going to get you access to your Super Factorial, which is then just going to set you up for like your insane disruption on your opponent's turn. There, so that's mainly it. It's a searcher there. Could play 2 of it if you wanted to grind, but this deck doesn't grind like that really. And then you have Laplation. This is the guy that when he's Exceed summoned, you can attach up to 3 materials, then choose any of his 3 effects and apply them in order. So you can potentially send a random card for your opponent's hand to the graveyard, send a monster your opponent controls to the graveyard, and send a spell or trap your opponent controls to the graveyard. So you're not banishing from like field, hand, and grave. Instead, you're sending from hand, field, and then field again, but monster and then a spell or trap. So this card's insane. And then also consider that this is going to have an Omni Negate attached to it as well. So this card is so busted, man. You only really need 1 because once it resolves, the duel's over. And if it doesn't resolve, you have other ancillary win conditions like access code, like the Synchros, but still an insane card for sure. Then for the Synchros, finishing up the list, we have Borreload Savage, Mathmech Magma, and Mathmech Final Sigma. Nothing too crazy here. Borreload Savage is part of the combo. Your combo doesn't actually lock you into Cyberse the way, like at least the simple like 2-card combo. So you just simply end Borreload Savage next to, well, with a Super Factorial live essentially. So you're going to have the negate off of Borreload Savage, but you're also going to have the Pseudo Trish with another Omni Negate just off of 2 cards. You'll still have some cards in hand, and that's pretty damn strong. So yeah, just a nice card to have for certain combos. Magma, he's cool. If he destroys a monster by battle, you can pop 2 cards your opponent controls. Also, if he's destroyed by an opponent's card, you can just add any Mathmech spell or trap. So you could just search the Super Factorial for follow-up if you didn't already use it. And then you also have Final Sigma. If you can make him, the duel's probably over. He's unaffected by all card effects except for Mathmech card effects. And any battle damage he inflicts is doubled. So yeah, a lot of your plays involve just like using multiplication to double his attack, and now he's double attack, double damage. The duel's over, right? Like unaffected by all card effects. So he's kind of a game ender. So he's, again, him plus like access code are kind of like, oh no, they were able to either play through your board of like Super Factorial Borreload, or they were able to just like stop it with something weird, like a quick effect called by the grave or DD Crow to keep you from resolving Super Factorial or something weird like that. And then later on, you can still like grind a little bit, but then just make this card just outright win. So it's an ancillary win condition. I highly recommend playing them just for those purposes because they will come up, I guarantee you, at some point. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the list. Hopefully I gave you a little bit of nice insight here. Like I said, not the craziest deck list I've ever made. It's fairly cookie cutter as far as this deck goes, but I think this deck's very good at what it does, so I didn't want to push too hard. I'm also pretty new to the deck, so this is an early representation of what I'm playing with at the moment, so keep that in mind as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for me here, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, let me know in the comment section down below what you would change about this list. I'm just one guy building these decks. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. And yeah, sub if you want to see more. I'll see you in the next one. Get the hell out of here. I love you. Peace.